Hello, I'm here with Uwe Krueger, Chief Executive Officer, and Heath Drewett, Group Finance Director, to have a conversation about Atkins' performance over the past year. Uwe, why don't you give us the headlines?
Sure, Sarah. Been a very strong year for Atkins, and I'm delighted to report about strong progress on all fronts for the company. There's plenty of evidence for that, and Heath will relate to the numbers shortly. But if I just look at two key figures, the cash performance of the company, clearly a very good proxy for the operational strengths of our business. Clearly that has been excellent. And also if you look at the margin progression, 3 out of 5 divisions of Atkins have already reached the goal of 8% margin or better. That's a very strong sign for the company performing very well. So we have all the reasons to be proud about what we've achieved as Atkins together with all our employees, and we will talk about more details about the performance of the businesses in a short while.
Well, we've got the numbers man with us, so Heath, what are the financials looking like?
Yeah, as Uwe said, I think the two standout items are progress on the margin, is a key target for us, and the cash performance. Very strong, particularly through the second half. I think the markets will be very pleased with that measure. And as we talk about the businesses individually, we'll talk about the strengths and some of the challenges that we've seen on the business by business area, but those would be the headlines for me.
So the numbers are looking good. So what about progress against our strategy?
Well, we do exactly what we said that we would be doing. So the strategy is obviously working. If you look at the 3 pillars, let's just remind ourselves. It's about operational excellence, portfolio optimization, and investing into high growth areas, what we call the speedboats of our business. So operational excellence really remains to be at the very center on a day-by-day basis. We made very good experiences in the UK. If you look at the increase of utilization that we had in the business, if you look at the simplifying approach that we had, and we rolled that out now in the Middle East and in the US. Of course, it's not just one solution fits it all. So we needed to look carefully what is really the problem that we wanted to solve, where's the improvement potential in the business when it comes to operational efficiency. So in the US, that resulted then in the decision to form a technical professional organization, so to basically break down the silos that we have identified, hindering us to put all the horsepower on the ground and simplifying the organization by doing so. So this operational excellence, I keep repeating and repeating it together with Heath, the focus on cash flow, looking for additional ways to simplifying the organization, keeps front and center in what we are doing from a managerial point of view. Then the portfolio optimization. We've been successful in divesting the Peter Brown business and also the highway services business. Specifically, highway services is a well-performing business, really top in their league, but non-core for Atkins. And it found a much better harbor within Skanska. And then finally, the investment into profitable growth in markets and segments that are important for us, like industrial engineering or energy, probably the poster child, if you want, of profitable organic growth that we could deliver and that we again delivered this year. We keep investing in those areas. So all in all, I think it's very, very good evidence that the strategy is working. So there's no change. We follow up day by day, month by month in implementing that.
Well, let's now take a canter around our regional businesses to find out in a little bit more detail what they're doing. Uwe, why don't you start us off with the UK and Europe?
The UK and Europe remain to be the major part of Atkins' business. We should never forget about that. That's really the basis, also the heritage where the company came from. Hence, a lot of attention is being given that this business, UK and Europe, is performing well, and it does. If you look at all the business units in the UK, but also in Scandinavia, a very, very solid performance that we have seen last year with interesting and important project wins. We have established ourselves again as the preeminent provider of engineering services for airports, hence Gatwick and Heathrow, and the work we are doing there. Good progress with regard to the continued work in the M25, the highway and transportation business. Excellent project wins with our major clients on the water environment side, Severn Trent and Thames Water, and also the work that WNE is doing with regard to high speed 2. So the whole business in the UK really doing well, and with a lot of focus on the operational efficiency part. If you look at Scandinavia, very well financed infrastructure market there. I just had the pleasure to talk at the International Rail Conference that was organized by BAN in Denmark. And we'll see a lot of investment in Scandinavia going into rail. Copenhagen Ringstad, for example, but also the change from a rail-based to an ERTMS-based signaling systems in Scandinavia. Denmark is really leading on a worldwide basis with those investments, and we have the lion's share of this highly ambitious but also challenging from a technological point of view contract. So this UK-Europe business, very, very important for Atkins. It is by far the largest piece of revenue, the largest contributor from a profit point of view, and hence gets lots of attention from our side.
Well, Heath, why don't you take us to North America, where they've made a lot of progress this year as a company?
Yeah, that's right. As Uwe said, they've rolled out the Operational Excellence Program into North America, and Joe Boyer and the team have been understanding what that means for them and their business. So quite a year of change for that business, both internally, how they face the markets. In terms of their financial performance, it's actually been most impacted by the removal of the Peter Brown business halfway through the year. As part of our portfolio optimization. As you know, that business has been loss-making within our portfolio. Taking that out of the group improves the results for Joe and the team. But really it's been a year where they've set themselves up, I think, for the coming year, the year that we've just begun. Clearly we've got other businesses in the US, and Faithful and Gould in particular is worthy of note. I think they had a great year in the US. Strong turnover growth. They're more in the private than public sector, whereas Joe's business is more in the public than the private sector. They're well positioned, some great client relationships, good turnover growth and excellent profit growth of the Faithful and Gould business. So the portfolio in the US has been reshaped. Joe's reorganised his team. I think they're well set for the new year, which we've just started.
Building on that, I think it's worth mentioning that we just cooperate better now within Atkins, not only given this technical professional organization that Joe introduced within the US, but also when it comes to rail projects that we are bidding for. Now we have people coming from the UK, from Hong Kong, helping in these bids, really bringing the whole expertise of Atkins to bear. That makes us a much more competitive bidder, and clearly success is coming afterwards. So also, if you look at technical differentiation in this market, he's mentioned the transportation part of our business in the US. We won a lot of projects where specific tolling expertise, so for highway tolls, was necessary, and we have specialized in that, differentiated ourselves from a technical point of view, and hence are winning market share. And this is a scheme for Atkins all over the place, that we trying to find ways, both from the way we approach from a commercial point of view a bit, but also from a technical point of view, how can we differentiate, how can we bring more to the table than probably what is even expected from a client side.
Well, talking about collaboration, let's move now to Asia Pacific, where we've got some really good successes about collaboration there, which have come about as a result of the recent acquisition of Confluence in the region.
That's almost a picture-perfect example how we like to do acquisitions. First of all, it was a pretty long and careful negotiation from an exclusive point of view with the Confluence people. And then once we agreed that Confluence should be part of Atkins, that was really a fantastic initiative to integrate that business, not only in Asia, but also India and the Middle East, where Confluence contributes. And what's better than shortly after an acquisition that you together win a project of real importance, and that's exactly what we did with the West Kowloon Leisure District. Highly contested international competitors, and we won. And we won because of cooperation, because the project management expertise of Confluence, together with the F&G's folks on the ground where it has been integrated, the former COO of Confluence now being head of F&G in Hong Kong, and the Atkins people phasing in, the Atkins design folks in Hong Kong phasing in critical expertise with regard to underground station work and the design that they have been doing so long in terms of transport-oriented development and infrastructure. and that made the day. So that's how we won, and that's a kind of a scheme. That's a method, a cooperation method that we try to roll out now also in the Middle East, in India and elsewhere, and I'm really proud of what has been achieved there.
Well, talking about the Middle East, Heath, why don't you talk about progress in that region?
Yeah, I mean they had a sort of year of two halves, the Middle East. A very difficult first half, a number of delays on projects that we thought we were well positioned for. Quite a characteristic of that market. Clients take some time to make their decisions, and then when they're made, they move quite quickly. And we saw through the second half a couple of particularly significant metro wins. The business has restructured around 3 sector areas: rail, infrastructure and property. We saw some great wins in the rail metro market in the second half: Riyadh Metro, Doha Metro up in Qatar. And that really gave the business some wind in its sails through the second half. They closed the year very strongly. Very productive, highly busy business, lots in the portfolio coming forward into the coming year. So yeah, very well positioned in a market that we've known for some time is going to offer lots of opportunities.
I would like to underline, it's really about focus in the Middle East. I think Simon Moon and the team there really introduced a much sharper view on what projects we really should be bidding for, and then making sure that as we mobilize for projects, as we deal with key clients, as we form client relationships, much more client-centric, because we are focused in what we are doing, and that shows in the results of the business.
And finally, our energy business, which operates truly on a worldwide basis. How have they been doing?
Excellent, really excellent. It continues to be, as I said before, kind of the driving force of growth within Atkins. Fascinating projects, clearly. You will admit, as a physicist, that I always like to speak about the ITER, the fusion reactor that is being designed in the southern part of France. Fascinating project, and potentially really the solution for the big energy question looming for the next decades. We formed strategic relationships with Urenco, on the oil and gas side with BP, and that provides us with a very good client proximity, very close cooperations with our clients, and clearly then the opportunity, as we perform well, to win more work. And that's, I think, the recipe for the business in energy. And by the way, it's not only kind of happening here in Europe. We've been successful in the Emirates with our nuclear business, and more and more with oil and gas in Saudi Arabia, in Singapore with LNG terminal work, in Australia, in Houston with our growing office there. So really a great success story, and we are absolutely confident that this will continue this way.
So what does the year ahead bring for Atkins as a group?
Well, first of all, we have very good momentum. But let's be clear, it doesn't change the fact that health and safety is the most important subject of the company. And that doesn't only mean that we are insisting that high-vis jackets and hard hats are being worn on a project site. It is about putting Atkins' expertise to work wherever it matters with regard to health and safety and the environment. And everyone, Heath and I, are engaging in director safety tours on site, be it in the Middle East or elsewhere, making sure that this message gets across. And I often repeat wherever I go that I lend my personal authority to the youngest employee in Atkins, even if he or she is just with us for a day, that he or she has the authority to stop work whenever something appears unsafe.
So we also talk quite a lot about efficiency being key to future success for the group. Tell us a little bit more about what efficiency actually means, Heath.
Yeah, I guess it falls, on the 3-pillar strategy. It's embedded in the operational excellence piece. The output and how we measure how efficient we are comes out in the margin, the operating margin that the group produces. And we've set, as you know, this 8% operating margin target for all our businesses. And we do that by doing things smarter. So in some cases that's automating processes, using up-to-date tools on the business development side, delivering projects, so on the technical side, making sure that we're equipping our people with the technical tools in order to deliver projects efficiently for clients. So it's all around what we do and how we do what we do. And we've been investing money to make that more efficient and making sure that where we invest it in one region, we then use that investment in another region. So we're being cleverer about doing things once as a group and employing the same processes and systems and tools so that we don't spend the money more than once trying to do the same thing across the group. I mean, a key part of our efficiency is the global design centres in India. We haven't talked about that thus far, but they're a significant competitive efficiency opportunity for us. We've got 1,100 people in India, amazing skill sets, able to deploy their skills to projects all over the group. And Rajesh, who runs those operations in Bangalore and Delhi, just joined the senior leadership team alongside Uwe and the rest of the team, to demonstrate really the key role that the GDCs have in our efficiency going forward. They will help us win work and deliver work.
Well, and finally, our people. We're nothing without our people. We've got 17,500 people all around the world doing a multitude of different things for the group. What would you challenge our people to do in the year ahead?
Well, first of all, we have put a lot of emphasis this year on the PDR process. We really wanted to make sure that kind of meeting the finish line in April, that each and everyone in Atkins had an opportunity in a structured way to sit down with his or her line manager and discussing how has performance been last year, how can I improve, what's my development plan for the future. And this emphasis is not only about having a statistics right at the end, be it 90 or 100% achievement. It's about the quality of the discussion that we want to see there. And one of the results out of it is that we had to understand that we need to do more on the training side for what is kind of the vertebra of Atkins, and that's the project manager and the project director. We are putting more and more expectations on the shoulders of these colleagues that are in direct client interaction, that feel a lot of pressure also from a commercial point of view. We need to put more emphasis on training there, and that's exactly as a consequence of the feedback we got. That's what we are putting in place now. And I would say in addition to that, it is rewarding to see how attractive we are also as an employer. You with the comms department, you have been instrumental to devise a new internal branding, an employer branding, how you called it. And that has been rolled out and I think got a lot of attention and traction. And if you walk the aisles when the new graduates are coming into the company and you ask them, why did you join Atkins? And it is all about the culture that they perceived, even in the interview process. And clearly it's about the cool projects that we are doing.
Well, thank you very much, Uwe and Heath. A good set of results for Atkins and significant progress against our strategy. Thank you very much.
Thank you.